Most men today are weak, chained by morality, paralyzed by the opinions of others. They lack the steel to command, to rule, to dominate. But here lies the problem we solve. How do you build a mind that instills fear and respect so deep that people obey without question? This is the lesson of ruthlessness. Understand this truth, for it is the foundation of a ruthless mind. Reality has no power without perception. Men do not live in truth. They live in appearances. What they see, what they hear, what they believe, these are the chains that govern their actions far more than the facts themselves. The clever ruler, the cunning mind, knows that men are blind to what is real, but slaves to what seems real. And if you can master appearances, you will paralyze them before you ever raise a hand. Look at the history of power and see how it repeats itself. A leader who seemed invincible, even when weak, held more command than one who was strong but doubted. Men bend not to your strength, but to the illusion of your strength. Appear merciful, and they will follow you. Appear wise, and they will not question you. Appear ruthless, and they will tremble even when you lift no weapon. The appearance itself becomes reality, for the minds of men cannot separate what they see from what truly is. This is why the ruthless mind must learn to shape perception, as a sculptor shapes marble. Do not show them your doubts. Do not show them your fears. Hide your weaknesses as you would hide a poisoned cup. Let them believe you are steady, resolute, and in command, even when inside you are at war with yourself. The crowd does not see your thoughts, only the mask you wear, and a well-crafted mask is more powerful than the truth it conceals. Ask yourself this: is it better to truly be strong or to be seen as strong? Men may never test your true strength. If your appearance convinces them, you cannot be challenged. They will paralyze themselves with fear, hesitation, and respect, all because their minds accept the illusion you present as reality. Perception does not simply reflect reality, it creates it. Think of the fox and the lion. The fox survives because it appears clever, always finding a way out of traps. The lion survives because it appears terrifying, too dangerous to attack. Yet both can be killed, both can be tricked, both are vulnerable when stripped of their appearances. But in the eyes of others, they embody fear and cunning, and so they live as though untouchable. You must become both fox and lion in perception, so that men cannot decide whether to admire you, fear you, or obey you. They will simply do all three at once. Remember this: the minds of men are lazy. They do not seek truth. They cling to whatever image is easiest to believe. If you give them the image of mercy, they will praise your virtue. If you give them the image of strength, they will submit to your command. If you give them the image of ruthlessness, they will not dare to betray you. They will see only what you allow them to see, and in that blindness lies your power. Perception is the battlefield where the ruthless mind fights. Control it, and you need not waste your energy on endless arguments, endless force, endless proving of yourself. Appearances silence questions before they are asked. They make resistance die in the heart before it reaches the hand. This is the secret weapon of the ruthless, to govern not through reality, but through the appearance of reality. Every man who seeks power must answer a question that has echoed through centuries. Is it better to be loved or to be feared? The weak will tell you it is better to be loved. Sentimental will tell you love creates loyalty. But I tell you this: love is fragile, love is fleeting, love vanishes at the first taste of danger. Fear endures. Respect rooted in fear holds the hearts of men still, paralyzing them from defiance. For when men fear losing what they value, when they fear your hand of punishment, they obey not with hesitation but with certainty. But fear alone is a dangerous fire. Uncontrolled, it burns its master. Too much cruelty breeds conspiracies. Too much terror ignites rebellion. The ruthless mind knows the balance. You must not be feared as a tyrant whose cruelty is without purpose, for such rulers are hated, and hatred fuels assassins. You must be feared as a figure whose power is undeniable, whose punishment is inevitable, and yet whose actions are guided by reason, then your fear transforms into respect. And when men respect you, they are paralyzed not only by dread of your wrath, but by admiration of your command. Think carefully. Love binds men only while it benefits them. They will love you as long as the sun shines and their fortunes prosper. The moment storms arrive, they will betray you to save themselves. Fear does not betray. Fear holds even in the storm. A man who fears you will think twice before treachery. He will hesitate before rebellion. He will bow his head not because his heart desires to, but because his mind dares not resist. It is hesitation that paralyzes, and hesitation is born of fear. Consider the ruler who shows nothing but kindness. His people adore him, they sing his praises, they call him merciful. Yet when enemies come, those same people scatter like frightened birds. They loved him, yes, but they did not respect him. And without respect, love dissolves into dust. On the other hand, the ruler, who is respected through fear, his men will hold the line, not out of devotion, but because they dare not abandon him. Their legs stiffen, their courage hardens, not for him, but for themselves, for they know his punishment awaits failure. And so they become strong under his command, paralyzed not by weakness but by discipline. A ruthless mind understands the art of measured cruelty. A punishment must be swift, decisive, and unforgettable. Strike once, strike hard, and let the echo of that strike carry through the hearts of all who witness it. Men remember pain more than kindness. They recall punishment longer than reward. One act of ruthless justice commands obedience far more than 100 acts of mercy, and once obedience takes root, respect grows like iron chains around their hearts. Do not mistake respect for affection. Respect born of fear is colder, sharper, and far more reliable. When they respect you, they may never love you, but they will never betray you. Their tongues will praise your wisdom, their eyes will watch your every move, their steps will follow where you lead. And if you should vanish, they will remember you not as a gentle soul, but as a figure who could not be defied. Fear tempered by respect becomes a fortress no enemy can breach, for it rules not just the body but the very will of men. The ruthless mind must, therefore, learn the delicate craft of instilling fear without igniting hatred, of commanding respect without relying on affection. Too much leniency makes men bold. Too much cruelty makes them desperate. Balance is the secret. When you master it, men will sit in silence before you, torn between awe and dread, unable to rise against you, unable to imagine defiance. Their strength dissolves, their courage evaporates, and in its place grows a reverence that chains them to your will. Men speak endlessly of truth as though it were a virtue that rules the world. They imagine that honesty builds trust, that sincerity earns loyalty, that transparency guarantees respect. But the reality is far colder. Truth is fragile, and men do not care for it. They care for advantage, for comfort, for survival. A ruthless mind understands that truth is not a weapon, but a burden. Deception, however, is a blade sharper than any steel, a tool that bends the world quietly without resistance. To paralyze others, you must master the art of calculated deception. Lies are not to be thrown carelessly like stones in the street. They are to be woven carefully, like a tapestry, each thread placed where it holds the strongest. A careless lie exposes the liar, but a crafted lie becomes indistinguishable from reality. The ruthless mind does not simply tell falsehoods, it tells half-truths, words wrapped in just enough honesty to be believable, delivered at the moment when ears are most eager to hear. Silence itself is a form of deception. To say nothing when others expect words is to let them weave their own conclusions, often to your advantage. Men cannot endure uncertainty. They will invent stories in the shadows of your silence, and most often, those stories will serve your power. Speak when it benefits you, remain silent when it protects you, and when necessary, bend the truth until it bends the will of others. Look at history and you will see that the greatest rulers and conquerors triumphed not by the sword alone, but by deception. Armies can be outnumbered, weapons can be matched, but a clever lie can topple a kingdom without a single battle. If your enemies believe you are stronger than you are, they will retreat. If your allies believe you are loyal when you are not, they will reveal their secrets freely. If your people believe you are merciful even when your hands are stained with blood, they will kneel before you with gratitude. Deception allows you to control what others cannot see. It allows you to set the stage on which they act, while you remain the unseen playwright of their choices. Let them think the decision was theirs, when in truth, you placed the thought in their mind. Let them believe they see clearly, when you have clouded their vision with illusion. To deceive is not to trick blindly. It is to shape perception so completely that resistance becomes impossible. Men are simple in their desires. They crave safety, they crave wealth, they crave glory. To deceive them, you must feed these desires with appearances. Offer the illusion of safety while you tighten your grip. Offer the illusion of wealth while you take what you need. Offer the illusion of glory while you direct them to serve your ends. They will thank you even as you exploit them, for they see only what you allow them to see. Understand this: honesty may win you friends, but deception wins you power, and power is the only currency that endures. When you master deception, you need not argue, you need not fight, you need not prove yourself. Your enemies disarm themselves with their own assumptions. Your allies deliver their loyalty with smiles, and your rivals destroy themselves by trusting shadows. This is the highest art of the ruthless mind, to dominate not through force, but through the silent chains of illusion, where truth itself bends before your will. The greatest weakness of men is not their bodies, nor their lack of wealth, nor their ignorance of politics. Their greatest weakness is their heart. Emotions cloud their reason, bind their judgment, and drive them into traps they cannot escape. Love makes them blind, pity makes them hesitant, anger makes them reckless, and guilt makes them weak. To build a mind so ruthless it paralyzes others, you must begin by paralyzing yourself, not in action, but in detachment. You must strip away the illusions of emotion until nothing remains but clarity and cold decision. Consider how men are manipulated. They are led not by logic, but by feeling. They are swayed by sympathy, deceived by love, softened by grief, and provoked by rage. This is why they are slaves, and this is why they are easy to command. The ruthless mind does not join them in these weaknesses. It observes them, uses them, manipulates them, but never shares them. To feel deeply is to hand your enemies a weapon, for whatever stirs your heart can be used to control you. But when nothing stirs you, when you are unmoved, you become untouchable. Pity is the first illusion to cast aside. Pity weakens rulers, slows decisions, and spares enemies who should have been destroyed. Mercy, when used strategically, can strengthen power, but pity is different. Pity is mercy without calculation. It makes a man act not for advantage but for sentiment. The ruthless mind shows mercy only when it increases loyalty, only when it strengthens position, never because the heart trembles at the sight of suffering. If you wish to command, you cannot allow the suffering of others to dictate your choices, for men will suffer endlessly if it serves your advantage. Then there is loyalty, that golden word men speak as though it were sacred. Yet loyalty is nothing but convenience dressed as virtue. Men are loyal only until their interest changes, only until fear or profit pulls them away. To bind yourself with loyalty is to bind yourself with chains that others can break at will. A ruthless mind accepts loyalty when it is useful, but never believes in it. It rewards loyalty when it strengthens control, but it is ready to discard allies the moment that loyalty weakens. The heart that clings to loyalty is betrayed. The mind that controls loyalty is obeyed. Guilt is another chain to shatter. Men cripple themselves with guilt, apologizing for their strength, weeping over the consequences of their actions, shackling their power because of regret. A ruthless mind does not indulge in such weakness. Once a decision is made, it is final. Once an act is done, it is past. Regret wastes time, and time is the one resource you can never reclaim. The man who hesitates with guilt loses opportunities, while the man who moves forward without looking back seizes them all. Even love, the most praised of emotions, is dangerous to the one who seeks power. Love is sweet to those who are powerless, but to the one who would rule, it is poison. Love makes you predictable. Love makes you vulnerable. Love makes you hesitate where you should strike, forgive where you should punish, trust where you should doubt. A ruthless mind can use love as a tool to control others, but it never allows love to control itself. To rule, you must love nothing more than victory. When you detach from emotions, you gain sight others do not have. While they are blinded by pity, you see the advantage. While they are bound by loyalty, you see the betrayal before it comes. While they are drowning in guilt, you are already planning your next conquest. While they are paralyzed by love, you are free to move without hesitation. Detachment is not emptiness. It is clarity. It is the power to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. The ruthless mind is not heartless, but it is never ruled by the heart. It knows emotions exist, but it keeps them locked away like dangerous beasts, released only when they serve the strategy, never when they oppose it. To rule others, you must first rule yourself, and ruling yourself begins by conquering your emotions, mastering them, silencing them, until all that remains is the steel of reason, the hunger for power, and the will to act without hesitation. You have now seen the 4 pillars upon which a ruthless mind is built: the mastery of perception, where appearances hold more weight than truth; the balance of fear and respect, where obedience grows stronger than affection; the craft of deception, where silence and illusion bend men to your will; and the detachment from emotion, where clarity replaces weakness and cold resolve commands where pity would falter. This is the architecture of a mind that paralyzes others, a mind that bends men without touching them, a mind that rules long before the battle begins. Weak men search for fairness, noble men search for honor, but the ruthless mind searches only for advantage. And advantage is what decides who commands and who obeys, who rises and who falls, who is remembered and who is forgotten. Remember this: men do not follow the strongest, nor the kindest, nor even the wisest. They follow the one they cannot resist, the one who controls their perception, their fear, their trust, and their very will. To build such a mind is not cruelty, it is necessity. For in a world where all are ruled, only the ruthless choose to rule.